Hi guys, this is Wojtek, stereosound.pl again. In this tutorial, it's a follow-up to the previous one basically. I'm gonna show you how to create a subby bass. Finding the right balance between the kick and the bass, especially in the low sub content is, well, it's the most important thing, especially if you create dance music, because that's what gives the biggest impact actually on the dance floor. If you won't make it right, then it just well, it's just gonna be lost somewhere in between. So you're gonna play a song in the club and people just won't notice that because it won't give them that power actually in the low sub-band content. Okay, so the first things first, I've noticed actually when I played that kick actually on the higher volume on my speakers in the studio, I've noticed that actually it's just a short thing, it's just a short tip related to that compressor. Actually, I've noticed that that model FF1 works better actually. You can get a better sound comparing to that second model FF2 actually. Okay, so you can play with it at home and just use model FF1, which I think works better actually for that instance. And then obviously you can also play with the threshold and the output gain, okay, to make it sound right in the mix. Okay, but in this tutorial we're gonna focus on creating of a sub bass, and I'm gonna use operator for this case. We're also gonna use one oscillator A. It's gonna be pretty much the same like creating the sub kick actually, but well, I've got some clip thing going on, so I've got some MIDI sequence over here, and what we do first actually, instead of using that transpose button to lower the sound of the notes, actually I'm just gonna use that chorus button, which works similar actually. In this case, I'm just gonna lower it down to the minimum value, and let's have a look how it sounds now. I'm just gonna switch the filter on as well, just to lower to cut some higher frequencies. Okay, let's have a look how it sounds right now. Okay, it doesn't sound right, you see. Actually you can hardly hear because we just used that sine wave, which basically operator loads whenever you start it up actually. So that's why just gonna try to tell you actually that well, square waves works better actually, that they cut through the mix a lot better than the sine waves. I mean, I played with a few of those actually, and a similar result to sine you can just notice actually when you use triangle as well. I'm just gonna play that for you as well right now. Okay, what we do, we'll just use that spectrum analyzer again to see what frequencies are playing. Okay, so you've noticed that you can actually see that there is a bit more harmonics if you use a triangle wave, but it's still not enough. So when I change this wave type to square D, you're gonna see straight away how many harmonics we get by using that wave. Okay, you can see that there is a lot more content actually within that wave type than with sine wave and the triangle wave. So what it means for you is it means basically that it will cut through the mix a lot better than the other waves. Okay, so we can actually have that loop going, and I'll just play with other parameters to make it well, right actually. Well, I mean, there are two ways actually to use those to use the subby waves and to create subby bass actually in your mix. I mean, subby bass style sound in your mix. I mean, you can either have such a long duration sound actually, but if you want to make it more percussive, so you can also use that you can use envelopes actually. Either you can use envelope from the oscillator A, you can just click that button using the left hand side button on your mouse, and then you can just play with that ADSR envelope. So if you want to make it a bit shorter, actually more percussive, you can just lower the sustain and decay. Okay, I think that sounds right actually in this, when the parameter is set in this place, and we can also play with a filter to make it more percussive. But it's basically now up to you actually. The whole idea behind creating sub-bass is just to use the square waves, and then you can just play with filter and the volume envelope to make it a bit more punchy or percussive. It's basically up to you, okay? So like I said, with sub kicks, you can just use the filter envelope as well to give it more punch. Okay, and you just use that envelope parameter just to turn it on basically, and then you just have to find the right balance between the filter and the oscillator array, okay? So if you want to make it a lot more percussive, you can just go right up. And you can just play with the filter frequencies. But if you just want to have a subby sound, then obviously you just have to pull it a little bit down. Then we can just gain it a little bit. What else you can do? I mean, in the previous instance when I created a sub kick, I've used a compressor actually to give it more punch, to give it more dynamics actually, but in this case with operator, I mean, as you've noticed actually, when you're gonna play it on your headphones, I mean headsets or speakers, it's got already a big punch, that sound, so you don't really need to, sometimes with bass stuff like that actually you don't need to use a compressor, because it's got already that dynamic in it, this whole sound with the filter actually, and with the filter envelope gave the punch to this sound that's coming out from the operator, from the track 3. So what you can use instead to give a bit more, to get a bit more dynamics with, to get a bit more actually harmonics within the sound, you can use saturator. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a saturator, and we're just gonna change the drive a little bit up. Okay, so we're gonna put the volume there, that parameter a little bit up than it is now, and you just have to make sure, because whenever you change that drive parameter, if you go up, obviously the output volume is gonna be higher, so you just have to compensate that on this parameter. Okay, so let's have a look how it works. Actually, I'm just gonna lower that volume a bit. Oh, maybe with this one actually we'll just go now lower the volume by 3 decibels, and we can just use the drive button, okay, the drive parameter now. Okay, and there are different types of saturation within this plugin actually, so you can play with them at home as well, but I prefer those two first actually for this case actually, for creating a subby bass, okay? You've noticed straight away that actually when I've used soft sine, it's got a bit more punch than the previous one. You see that this one is a lot smoother. Actually, this wave actually is a lot smoother. So the saturation that goes out from this plugin is a lot smoother compared to soft sine. That's why it's got more punch now, and it's got a lot more harmonics than the other one. Okay. Alright, so I guess that's it in this tutorial, and I'll see you in another one. If you've got any questions related to this matter or production stuff, then you can just shoot me an email on YouTube, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, bye bye.